Hello, my name is Ron Wolf, and today I'm doing a presentation over why we must all become digital citizens. First of all, um, my resource here is the Applied Education Systems, and it talks about the 7 concepts of digital citizenship. The first one is empathy. The second one is how the internet works. The third one is understanding user data. The fourth one is practicing digital literacy. The fifth one is acknowledging the digital divide. The sixth one is practicing digital wellness. And the seventh is securing digital devices. And again, that is by the Applied Educational Service or Educational Systems. Sorry. They also a resource I use here is a Common Sense Education article, and they talked about the 6 core topics of digital citizenship. The first one is we find balance in our digital lives. Number two, I think is important that we care about everyone's privacy. Number three, we define who we are. Number four, we know the power of words and actions. Number five, we are kind and courteous. Number six, we are critical thinkers and creators. And again, that's a common sense education. On the next slide here goes through the 5 reasons to teach digital citizenship this school year. This was by Go Guardian, 2019 resource. The first one is information literacy. The second one is cyberbullying and prevention. The third one is online safety. The fourth one is digital responsibility. The fifth one is health and emotional wellness in a digital world. Okay, the next part of this presentation, we're going to kind of talk about the teaching aspect of it. Um, the slides there says how to teach digital citizenship, and there is 3 main traits that they were using, and they say that you need to define what you want to teach. You need to create lessons, create projects, and then you need to execute following the rules, following the guidelines that are presented by your school, and those are the 3 things that will help you in your digital citizenship in your classroom. Areas to focus when teaching: cyberbullying, effective passwords. I think that's kind of always key with kids is remembering passwords. I know that's a big thing in our school. Email spoofing and virus protection. Right now, there's so many scammers that virus protection and email spoofing is very important. Plagiarism, to make sure that we're using sources, that we're citing them correctly, that our students are doing that, and they're not just copying and pasting, and that's what they're trying to present in their paper. Social media, and then literacy intelligence. So I think all these areas are really good to focus on when teaching digital citizenship. Resources to teach digital citizenship in 2013. I think there's 3 great resources, and these were provided by Go Guardian in 2019. And the resources are Be Internet Awesome by Google. Google presents that. Safe Online Surfing. The FBI actually is in charge of that. And then Ignition by EverFi is also a good resource. So these are 3 great resources to use when you have your kids surfing and using things online. I found this in a Common Sense education article, and it was an 8th grade curriculum. So I'm an 8th grade teacher. So when if I was teaching digital citizenship, areas that I'd want to focus on, there were 6 major areas they had. They had digital media in your brain, being aware of what you share, social media and digital footprint, our responsibility, sexting and relationships, responding to online hate, and this just in. So again, these are all resources from Common Sense Education article, and it was again curriculums, and they had curriculums actually listed all the way K through 12. It was a very good resource and really good lessons, and everything was laid out well on that resource. The next resource is about on a guy that uses digital citizenship, and he uses a ready method, and it's Joseph, and this is a 2020 resource. And the ready is an acronym, and it stands for remind, encourage, accountability, demonstrate, and yes. And this is something that Mr. Joseph uses in their school. And there's 5 questions for students to consider before posting online that they post up everywhere that they make kids think about. And the first one is, what impression are you giving? Number 2 is, do you really want this information out there? Number 3, are you oversharing? And that's something I think that is big in schools. Is you do have students that just are posting all the time, and that is a big concern. Number 4, would I want someone to share this fact or idea about me? And number 5, does it pass the newspaper test? So the newspaper test is, would you want everybody out there to see it? They're going to be reading it. And again, I think this is a very good resource. I like the acronym. I like when things have acronyms. And I think this was very well presented by Mr. Joseph. Another acronym they had was REP, REP, and its digital citizenship is more important than ever. Um, the next thing that we're going to talk about is E-rate. And there's 3 main questions I got out of the article by Mendoza in 2020. And the first one is, what is E-rate? The second question was, who is eligible for E-rate? And then the third one was, what does E-rate have to do with digital citizenship? So to answer the first question, I found a very good quote by Mendoza. What is E-rate? It's the Schools and Librarians Program of the Universal Service Fund, more commonly known as E-rate, is a federal program through which schools and libraries can apply for funds to purchase hardware, internet access, and telecommunications to connect their students to their learning opportunities. And again, with books kind of going by the wayside with technology, I think this is a great way to get your school funded, and I think this is very important as a principal to understand where you can get these funds. The next thing is who's eligible for E-rate. And again, this is another site by Mendoza in 2020. And it says all K-12 public schools, including public charter schools, all nonprofit K-12 private schools with endowment less than 50 million, all public libraries, all public elementary and secondary libraries whose funding is separate from the school. And the third one is, what does E-rate have to do with digital citizenship? In general, this means that before your school can receive E-rate funding, administrators must clarify the school or library has taken, among other actions, measures to protect online safety and the access and the monitor of online stuff with students, filters, blocks, obscenes. Sorry, my screen is cutting off right there. I need to go back. And safety policies. Again, that's been Mendoza 2020. And so what this is really summing up is that, to get these funds, you have to make sure that you're protected, your school's protected, that you do have guidelines in place to protect your students from anything online attacks or anything that they would post to that would be detrimental to your school. Okay, in summary, I have on standard correlation. How does the standard correlate with this lesson? I put digital citizenship applies to the standards that relate to technology safety. Technology will continue to grow in the education field, and protecting children has to be a number one priority. The use of computers can be a great tool, but this tool needs to be monitored properly, and privileges may be taken away if necessary. As the education field continues to grow with technology, the needs for strict guidelines need to follow. How is this relevant? Digital citizenship is extremely relevant to the safety of all parties using the internet. Students must follow rules and guidelines laid out by the school district. Teachers need to make sure these rules and guidelines are being followed by the students. As an administrator in the school district, it's my responsibility to make sure the school tech team and teachers are all monitor students so they are protected. On reflection, I wrote, as a future leader of a school district, I know it's my responsibility to understand my district's technology policies. I need to make sure these policies are up to date as technology is always evolving. I also need to understand who is in charge of updating devices in the school district and make sure we have the best equipment available. And then the last slide here are my references.